Hi everybody, welcome back to Midvale Minis. In today's video, I'm back in the garden making some flowers for my garden room box. Please remember to like and subscribe and come join me as we go make some flowers. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work on my peonies. I'm going to shape the petals. Then I'm going to paint each petal kind of randomly with some light pink paint just to give some dimension. Then I'm going to glue each petal around the yellow center that I've created with paint. It's like the pistil of the flower, and the flower petals will go around in a layered sort of way. Next, I'm going to take my Model Magic and I'm going to make a little mound of dirt that I'm going to put all of the flowers into. And now I'm going to shape and add the leaves. And here's what one of them looks like inside the project. I did make two of them, one for each side. Next, I want to make some petunias to fit into this wall fountain. Here's a reference photo of one of my favorite petunias by Proven Winners. It's called Supertunia Bordeaux. So now I'm going to take these two colors, purple pizzazz and violet, and I'm going to do a little mix of color trying to emulate the color of Bordeaux. I'm starting with the pizzazz and I'm putting it on very lightly, and then I am watering it down. I kind of want to leave a little bit of white at the edges like the Bordeaux, and I kind of want it to be random, so I'm just going in there randomly. And then when that's done, I'm going to go back in, even when it's still a little bit wet, and add the darker violet color over top to have that nice dark center. The photo on the outside of the kit shows 35, and so I did about 32. Now I'm just going to flip it over and paint the back. I'm only showing the base coat here because that's where I was going to leave it, but I do go back and add the darker center as well. And now it's time to cut each one away from the backing paper. Next, I'm using a needle tool to shape each petal. I go in the center of each one of the little bumps and I press down sideways with my needle tool to give a little vein look. Then I flip it over and I use my stylus to put a little rounded area to each one of the bumps. Then I flip it back one more time and I use the stylus to make a bump right in the center. And it gives quite the nice little cup shape. And here they all are ready to go. So the next step is, instead of using wire to attach the small flowers, we take some embroidery floss and we separate the 6 strands apart. Then we cut them into smaller pieces. Then I take some glue and put it on my finger and run each one of the smaller strands through my fingers to coat each one of the strands with some glue. This will stiffen the strands. So when that's dry, the instructions called for dipping the tip into some glue and adding a tiny little bit of very fine sand and then painting the sand. I did that, but I didn't like the look of it. I felt it was too big. So I cut that piece off and then I just dipped the tip into some yellow paint. Then I threaded the flowers onto each strand and here's what they look like. I decided I wanted a little more structure in the garden right by the door, and I had these 2 lions, so I aged them. Here's one that's not aged and here's one that is aged, so you can see the difference. And here they are inside the Roombox. I was so excited because they fit absolutely perfectly. I'm going to show this next part, even though I don't end up using it, just because I wanted you to see the whole effect. So there are these teensy tiny little pieces that go on the back of the flower. I'm not sure what they're called. Anyway, they're really tiny. So I painted the front and I painted the back. And then I cut them out. It took quite a bit of time just to try and cut them away. And they are so tiny, I had to use extra magnification. Look at how small these are. The next step was to thread them onto the flower. I fought and fought and fought with this. I kept dropping them, they wouldn't slide on. It was quite challenging. I finally got it on the edge of the stem and I tried to use my tweezers to pull it up. Of course, I didn't want to rip any of them. It was about here when I decided I didn't want to do this anymore. So the backs of my flowers will not have the little green piece, and I'm okay with that. Now I'm moving on to the small leaves that go with each stem. Some of them are really tiny. Here's my fingernail for reference. I'm going to shape each one of these leaves with my needle tool first, down the center of each leaf. Then I'm going to flip it over and use my stylus to give it a little shape on the back. And now I'm gluing it on to the end of a piece of wire. The idea is to glue each leaf opposite from each other. And then the next round underneath it goes in a 90-degree angle from the top two. Now I finally get to add my flower to the wire. I love how it came out. I think it looks really, really pretty. And here's what I've gotten done so far this week. I wanted to get the entire thing done, but I just ran out of time. So that'll be in my next video. And here's where I'm leaving it for the week. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you're having a great day. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!